Hey everyone, welcome to this week's video. Today we'll be talking about how to get through times of doubt. These are the times when you just don't feel good. Usually you're in a depressed mood, and it could be for some reason, it could also be for no reason at all. It's useful to know how to get through these times because they're repetitive. It's not like they happen once or twice in a lifetime. They usually happen periodically, every month or every 2 months, depends on the person. But the important thing is it's something that lasts throughout your whole entire life. Knowing how to deal with these stressful times of doubt is really important if you want to live a good life. The first is to just understand where these emotions are coming from. One of the biggest sources is when somebody gives you a whole bunch of negative energy, and this could happen in many forms. One is your boss can say some mean things or give you some bad news. Since your job is probably important to you, you won't take that bad news well, and because of that, your mind will just start being depressed. And these sources could also be your friends, your relatives, and anything you interact with on a daily basis. Another source of these emotions is yourself, or more specifically, your mind. A lot of times you're not controlling your thoughts, which lets your mind roam free. And sometimes your mind thinks about good and happy thoughts, but a lot of times your mind will run back memories, times that you've done something cringy, times that you've done something wrong, and having those thoughts in your mind constantly will give you negative emotions. And these negative emotions are going to cause doubt. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, your mind is the source of everything, but your surroundings impact your mind. So by controlling your surroundings, you'll be able to help yourself control the thoughts that enter your mind. So my biggest advice for you, if you want to stop times of doubt or prevent them as much as possible, is to just create an amazing surrounding for yourself. That can include things like cleaning your environment. As I mentioned in previous video, you need to choose your friends properly. You need to choose the places you visit and work at. Basically everything in your life you need to choose properly in order to prevent these negative times in your life. Even when you are experiencing negative emotions, having the right environment is extremely helpful. Aside from that, let's talk about some things that you can actually do right now to help get through these dark times. The first thing you need to realize is that these emotions that you're feeling are only temporary, and it's basically like a mirage. Once enough time passes, once you've made enough progress, you'll forget about these emotions and it'll seem like they've never existed. It'll just be a distant memory. A lot of times you can forget that these times are going to end, but just know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. What's important is what you do when you're in these dark times. The first thing you need to make sure you're doing is not showing other people that you are going through this tough time. That way your acquaintances, your friends, your enemies, whoever it may be, won't know, and they won't be able to use or manipulate you because you're really vulnerable at this point in time. What you want to do is minimize the negative interactions you get, because negative interactions are much more effective against you than positive interactions. So in general, what that means is that you just want to minimize the amount of interaction you're getting with people that aren't necessarily very close to you. I'm not saying to stop talking to people because that'll make things even worse, but make sure you're not exposing yourself as much. If you really need to talk to somebody, talk to a close friend, a close relative, just somebody that you know and trust, rather than some friend that you've met a week ago. Another thing that you need to do is keep on living your life. What I mean by that is a lot of times you might feel like you want to stop doing something. For example, if you're working, if you're going to the gym every morning, you might feel like you want to stop until you feel better, but you shouldn't do that because you're going to lose time. Yes, it will be more difficult to get your work done, but in the long run, when you look back, you'll be much happier that you did the work even in these tough times, than if you didn't do the work. It's one of those things that sets you up for success in the future, because in the future you'll think, wow, I did all of this amazing work even when I was depressed, even when I was going through these tough times. And that way you will gain more confidence, you'll love yourself more, and when you go through these dark times again, which they will inevitably come, you'll be able to look back in your past and see, hey, I've gone through this before, and I've done more than just gone through it. I've gotten work done. I've gone to the gym even when I was depressed. I've done this, I've done that. And that way you will be able to get through these tough times more easily. As I've said before, it's not a one-time thing when you feel these times of stress and doubt. So it's really important that you make it easier for yourself and you set yourself up for success in the future when it happens again. And the last thing that I would say, and this is probably the most important one, is to focus on not losing rather than winning. A lot of times when you're depressed or doubtful, you will oftentimes make the wrong move. Usually it's because you're not feeling well. You might feel desperate or some other emotion that really hurts you when you're interacting with others. Try to minimize the time you talk to other people that you're not very close with, and when you do, be on the defensive. If they ask how your day was, just say good. You don't need to go into how your day actually went, because you'll be exposing yourself and you'll be giving away some secrets that you might not want to be giving away. And this puts you in an even more vulnerable spot. You want people to know as little as possible about you during this time. That way they can't do as many evil things. They can't be as manipulative towards you, because everything is going to be multiplied by 10 times for you just because you're feeling worse. Try your best just not to lose in social interactions. Don't try to dominate them and win. Just try to stay anonymous and not expose any information about yourself. Later on, once you feel better, once you're not experiencing these tough times of doubt, you can now start dominating them and trying to win these interactions. But when you're doubtful, you're going to be playing a losing game. The whole premise behind these ideas is to survive rather than win, and we'll leave the winning once we've recovered emotionally, because then it'll be much easier. By surviving, you're ensuring that you are minimally damaging yourself, and that way when you fully recover, you'll be better than if you had exposed yourself. In summary, the name of the game is just to keep living your life, just minimize your social interactions, try to survive, and wait it out. Make sure you're doing the smallest amount of wrong moves that you can be making. Of course, you might make a wrong move here and there, but just try to make as few moves as possible so that you minimally hurt yourself, and wait it out. Let the mirage end, and once you're feeling better, you can get back into the world and start winning again. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.